Welcome back to the Already Dated podcast, where in this week we're going to talk about video game remakes, and more specifically, what the difference is between a remake and a remaster, because are they the same thing or are they different? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we've been gone for a little bit.
Yes, it may not be noticeable, but we haven't recorded in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's all my fault. Just let's get that on the table. Let's see. The first week I had to go to Sweden, and then I came back, and then I had to take care of some dogs for a week, and then and that rolled over the second recording session, and then now we're here at the third attempt.
I mean, 3 weeks isn't that long of a time, but yeah, it's felt like ages for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what even is this podcast anymore? I don't remember doing a podcast. That was in a previous life.
It's because we both enjoy doing it so much that it feels like years when we don't do it.
Yeah, I know, right? On to the actual topic of discussion for the episode. Yes. Remakes. Boy, is that a contentious topic on its own.
Yeah, also the people don't. A lot of people don't seem to get the difference between the remaster and the remake, because the line is like paper thin, but it exists. There is a difference.
It's already happening again with the Last of Us remake that just came out at the time of this recording, which
right.
already dates this podcast, so that's totally fitting for this name.
This is the second remake of Last of Us 1.
Well, that's what makes this interesting and plays into
because the first one is a remaster. The first one was remastered. This is a remake, quote unquote.
Yes, and so if we just lay it out first, what the difference even is, because as you said, it's a thin line, but it is very much there, and people confuse the two all the frickin' time. So, which is more important to go through first, remasters or remakes?
I can go over remaster. You can go over remake, I guess. So like a remaster is a game that's been changed for the quality of graphics or sound mostly. For example, like Diablo 2 Resurrected that came out. That game, like, because it's it's a remaster, 100%. Because that's all they did. Graphics, sound. They didn't do anything else to it.
Did they not tweak the gameplay in any way?
Nope. Gameplay's the same. There's even a button you can press to revert it to original graphics.
Okay, see, already we're in disagreement here, because
But see, at that point, it's like, how little do you have to do to remaster a game? Like, is it just like graphics update and sound?
To me, what a remaster is like in the PS3 generation when you had those HD re-releases, like Metal Gear Solid HD Collection or Shadow of the Colossus and Ico, where it's literally just, it's the PS2 game, but it plays at 1080p now.
That's what Diablo 2 Resurrected does. They just have a button to revert it.
But that's the thing, Diablo 2 Resurrected, they had to make all new assets for it. The graphics improved so much they had to remake stuff for it.
Yes, and that's again the thin line, because
that's where the whole Last of Us discussion came in. So to me at least, what a remaster is like the most bare bones. It's the same game, exactly the same, just it's high resolution.
Here's a good rule of thumb. If it has HD at the end of the title, it's usually a remaster.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
A remaster, you can sometimes include like new soundtracks or different voiceovers and offer smoother gameplay. That's usually what you're going to get. Because depending on how old the game is, you're going to get different voice actors.
Yeah,
because they have to update the sound for it. So, and if they can't use the original people, then
sometimes they just say screw it and still just use the old sound anyway.
Sometimes they just copy pasta the voice acting. Yeah. But like overall, for a remaster, the game is enhanced or remade rather than remade or modified as a remake is. So the sound will be less, tinny and the resolution will be better, but it won't appear pixelated for most things.
Yeah.
Hence the rule of thumb HD tag.
Mm-hmm. Whereas then, for remakes, it's a bit of a wide trough catch-all type of phrase because it can mean a whole bunch of different things.
Soon as you go past the graphic and sound, then you're in a remake.
Usually it means, well, to me, that, like Diablo 2, that is a remake. Because it's the same gameplay, but they had to remake assets to upgrade the graphical style.
They had to remake 20-year-old assets, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because it runs on a different system.
Most times, what a remake means, though, in the most undisputable way, is when they start from scratch to make the game again. Like, they don't use old game code.
Yeah. Or
if it changes the entire gameplay type, even, like...
Oh yeah, that's something I thought of as well. It's like they can add in remakes. They tend to add things that weren't in the game before. Mm-hmm. Rarely will they remove stuff. Yeah, sometimes they do. Sometimes they do.
Rarely they do, but in some very critically acclaimed games, they do it, and people praise the game anyway.
Yep. But in most cases, they'll add like some tidbits here and there.
The most extreme example of a remake is the Final Fantasy VII remake, because it usually remakes, they remake the gameplay into a different style, they upgrade the graphics, maybe they change the story a little bit, but it usually follows the same track. Whereas Final Fantasy VII remake was like, now we're not even doing the same story either.
Yeah, it's just Final Fantasy 7.5.
Yeah, it's just Final Fantasy VII different, like not even again, it's just like it's Final the same Fantasy, world and that's it.
7 brackets 2.
Yes, exactly.
Like, but I was gonna say a Final Fantasy remake, really? They have those. About 1 million.
Yeah, I know, right?
One could say they've remade so many Final Fantasy games.
Well, again, those maybe fall more into the remaster point.
Some of them, like when they remade the older ones, it's like remade. I say, okay, remaster.
Yeah, if we get into, because we're getting into some specific examples now, if we list off the difference between some good remakes and then bad remakes, because boy, there's some bad remakes out there, and that's why remakes have such a low public opinion, because when you take a beloved game and you remake it, that's like a high bar to set. And then when you make it worse than the original, that's like, oh, you have trashed yourself.
Yeah.
So, with the good remakes, I might as well throw the cat out of the bag here and reference that one game that I was throwing shade at. Resident Evil 2 Remake. It is considered not just a good remake, a fantastic one.
It's considered one of the best remakes of the current generation.
Resident Evil 1 Remake was considered that before Resident Evil 2 Remake came out, because Resident Evil 1 Remake was just, in the purest sense, it's the same game play as well. Same game and same gameplay, same story.
Just new hardware.
Just it looks insane even nowadays.
Yeah. And
they added stuff.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite way to do a remake. You take the same game, but then you add stuff on it, like Resident Evil 1 Remake.
And that's my same reasoning for Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, what Game Freak did with that. It's the same game with their updated gameplay, 3D chibi art style kind of thing. Well, they didn't do chibi art until fucked off remake that I can talk about afterwards. Remaster, whatever you want to call it. But Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire added like a whole new story element at the end of the game and different side stories and stuff that weren't in the original game, but it complemented well, so that was nice.
Same thing for Heart Gold and Soul Silver, right?
Yeah.
For another type of one that I really like is Metroid Zero Mission, which has the exact same point. It's a remake of Metroid 1 on the GBA, and it ends exactly the same as Metroid 1, and then it keeps going. it's like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a game. It has like the credits screen of Metroid 1. That's like, nope, here's more.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things I've seen, and like no other game has done that.
It's like a post-credits scene in a movie. When you're like...
Exactly. But you get to play the post-credits scene.
Yeah.
And that whole ending bit in Zero Mission is crazy because it ends the same way all Metroid games do. Oh, Samus has won the day. She's flying away. And each Metroid game basically ends with her like thumbs upping the camera, like, I did it. And then her ship gets shot down and she crash lands, and then you get stolen by pirates and you have to escape their prison, and it's a whole stealth sequence and stuff. It's like, holy crap, this is crazy. I don't know, it's like if any game that you really love gets remade and then, oh yeah, we added more to the ending that you expected.
Yeah.
But yeah, to clear off any of the people who've been on the edge of their seat, why did you mention Resident Evil 2 Remake? Because from what I've seen, Resident Evil 2 Remake is supposed to be really good. I haven't played it yet, so I can't judge. It's on my Steam wish list. I haven't bought it yet. It's always on sale.
We are poors.
We are poors. Can't just buy all the games on my wish list. The thing that really bugs me with Resident Evil 2 Remake isn't the fact that they changed the story, which, I mean, it's a remake and they're trying to make it more modern. Fair enough. Yeah. You want to change the story, fine. It would be cool if the original was still accessible in some way, if you had the choice to have the old and the new, kind of like the video that I'm currently making goes into stuff like that. But the issue with Resident Evil 2 Remake and 3 Remake, which everyone dogged on 3 Remake about, but no one cared in 2, was they got rid of stuff. That's when I start to take issue with things. They got rid of the fact that Resident Evil 2 basically had 4 different story modes in it, because you had Leon and Claire that you could play as, and depending who you played the story as, it would change the story entirely. If you started as Claire first and then played Leon second, the story would be one way, and then if you played as Leon first then Claire second, it would be a different story entirely. And that's one of the reasons why people love the game so much, and they just removed it. They just merged it together into it's just all one story. Maybe one scene is different, but like the scene where Birkin gets infected for the first time, or where his wife comes in to stop him, they both play at the same time when the story is supposed to be taking place at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's just two Birkin's wife shooting him at the same time. It makes no frickin' sense, and I hate when a remake removes stuff. And that's one of the things people don't like about the Last of Us remake that came out, because it doesn't have the multiplayer in it.
Yeah, removing multiplayer might have been a shoot yourself in the foot kind of thing.
I get it, because they're making a new multiplayer mode and they don't want to cannibalize the audience, but just put it in there.
You can update. You literally just, when you make the new thing,
you've already remade the single player. You got all the stuff. You're just not putting it in.
Yeah, like you have the entities for it. Just put it in. When you make your new thing, just swap it.
Yeah, that Resi rant has derailed the point a bit, but yeah, for other good remakes, another somewhat recent one is the Tony Hawk Pro Skater ones.
Yeah, the 1+2.
Yes, by Vicarious Visions.
Vicarious Visions, isn't it?
Yeah, because they made the Crash Insane trilogy as well.
Which the Crash Insane trilogy is, remake kind of thing.
Yeah.
It is a remake, and they did it really well. It looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, both of them. Both the Tony Hawk Pro Skater ones and the Crash Insane trilogy.
And Toys for Bob did the Spyro remakes.
Yes. Yeah. They did the Spyro remakes and the Crash Full.
Yeah.
And yeah, from what I saw people say about the Spyro remakes as well, those were supposed to be really good.
I played them on the PC with my controller, yeah. because Spyro is a console game, have to play on a controller, but they play it. It's really cool.
To tie into that whole modernization theme, apparently they just got rid of like the jank 90s game design aspects of it a bit.
Yeah, they just cleaned it up and it smoothed it over. That's literally all they did.
Yeah,
but like they obviously redid the hardware that it was on, and then that's it.
Sometimes for me that's all you really need.
Yeah.
Because for cases like Resident Evil 2 Remake or Final Fantasy 7 Remake, when you start changing the story and the level design layout, it almost isn't really a remake at that point anymore.
A game.
Yeah, it's the same setting, but it's not the same game at all. Resident Evil 1 Remake is Resident Evil 1, just they added a bunch of crap on top. Whereas, those other two are different. If we now jump into a very sore spot for you, bad remakes.
Yeah, the original was one of my childhood games that I used to play with my friends after school. We had this after school club we would go to and play Warcraft 3. You guys see where I'm going now. So I really enjoyed that in modding Warcraft 3, and we were chilling in that. Then when they announced Warcraft 3 Reforged, this is BlizzCon 2018, I want to say 2017. They announced this. Me and my buddy were like, "Woo, fuck yeah, let's do it." I never bought it. Still haven't.
You never bought it?
Never. I waited a week after it came out for this very reason.
Good.
Because then I started to see the epitomous shit pile of hate mail that came Blizzard's way. It was like, that scene in in a Sharknado movie when you see the tornado of sharks coming towards you. That is change the sharks with Twitter birds, and they're all Blizzard players, and it's coming towards the Blizzard HQ. That is the shitstorm of bad reviews for Warcraft 3 Reforged.
And it was all fully deserved, is the thing.
The launch was jank, bugs on bugs that had bugs, and that those bugs had bed bugs riddled in them. There was nothing worked in the game at all, and the story was. I'm pretty sure the story was the same as it was.
Oh yeah,
but I don't know.
It had bugs in it too, though.
Yeah, so literally it was just ruined by bugs, and it took them it took them a couple of years to even start ironing out a bunch of it.
And even then the damage was done at that point.
Yeah, the reputation to that game was done. So that game is true. I think that game is truly Blizzard's biggest flop of all time.
Yeah.
Because
I was gonna say, what about Artifact? But that was Valve, not Blizzard.
They had some bad World of Warcraft expansions, but even those got played.
Yeah, those people still bought those. People still played those.
This is a case of you ruined your game before you even got started. This is like a movie that's set up to make $800 million, and then it makes $4 million.
It makes negative dollars.
It makes negative $800 million. Truly just awful. Just bad.
The issue I have with it, and with another example of it's not a bad remake, but it's a bad remaster, is Dark Souls Remastered, where a company, in order to release the games on the current PS4 and the rest, that's my Xbox slander for the episode. I gotta fit it in there somewhere.
We have to fit in some Microsoft slandies somewhere.
It's in the contract. You just gotta do it. With Dark Souls Remastered, they decided to go in and try and fix stuff.
Yeah.
And then they bungled all of it.
Yeah, that happens half the time when they try to fix something, they just bungle it instead. Also, Sony, if you want to sponsor us, we're ready.
Your sponsor spot can go right here. along with NordVPN and Raid Shadow Legends. You can hit us up.
Yep. Do you want to be able to surf the web without anyone knowing your history? Try NordVPN with the code.
You want people to not see your search history while you're playing Raid Shadow Legends? With Dark Souls Remastered, they would have just been better off porting the game than the fixes they tried to do.
Yeah.
Because, as you expect, they tried to change the graphics and it looked worse. They tried to change game balancing and they broke it.
Yeah.
And they didn't fix any of the bugs that they introduced into it. And just the biggest issue, along with what they did with Warcraft 3, is they removed the original version from Steam.
Yeah. I have a sore spot with and this is a game that rides the thinnest margin of remastered or remake.
Mm-hmm.
Is the most recent Pokemon remakes. So Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl that were released
on the Switch.
It's like,
yep.
You couldn't again, because obviously it's been made from the original DS pixelated style to the and I hate this art style so much, the chibi art style. Little tiny body with an enormous head. Like, actually, like, and then they're like very Japanese little anime eyes. Fucking and it's just like they did nothing. The game is 1-to-1 the same. You have Generation 8. They could have remade it and then been like, here's Pokemon up to Gen 8. But no. It's all the Pokemon that were available all the way back when the original games were released. There's no new Pokemon. Nothing. It's 1-to-1 the same game. The end game is the same. Nothing is different. The only thing that's different is the art style, with the chibi art style. So remake, yes. Remaster, mostly.
Yeah, and that's where the fine line also comes, where it's, if you decide to remake something, if you do too little, then your remake is pointless. If you do too much, then you ruin what made the original good. In both instances, people just go back to the original.
Yeah, like I'd rather just go and play the original on my DS. And my DS had a cracked screen. My original DS. I couldn't see... when I was fighting someone in Pokemon, I couldn't see the top half of the screen. I didn't know how much health the other Pokemon had left. I didn't even know what I was fighting half the time.
Oh my god, how did you do that?
I don't know, but I played like 40 hours like that.
Desperate times.
Yep. Hey, Dad, can I get a new DS? No.
You gotta play Pokemon blind. It'll add to your challenge.
Maybe I'll learn Pokemon Sign Language.
Yeah, with the remakes, if you hit the fine line, like Resi 2 Remake, even though they removed stuff, but people really like it, or Final Fantasy 7 Remake, which people have issues with the story, but like everyone says, oh, the gameplay is fantastic.
Yeah.
When you hit that fine line of you deserve to exist, you haven't invalidated the original, and you improve on the original, then that's great. But when you mess up one of those things, or in the case of Warcraft 3, you mess up all of them.
You literally just you took the bin of all the things and you just took a hot steaming shit on it. That's what you did. Took all the good stuff and you just diarrheaed all over it.
Ugh. And the thing is that a lot of people, especially nowadays, not just in video games, but in like the film industry and stuff, they make the point that like we're in the remake era. All that released this point was remakes and remasters and sequels, which, again, I somewhat cover this in the video I'm making, but I've never understood this point at all, because people will always make new stuff.
Yeah.
For the people that complain about in the movie sphere, oh, the MCU is hogging all of the film industry. What about indie filmmakers? Indie filmmakers are all still out there making their movies. You're just not watching them.
Do people understand how many indie films get made every year? At film, like how many get shown at film festivals?
And how many film festivals there are?
There are like the only ones that people like when you say film festival, people think like Sundance, all these other things. The most there are hundreds, thousands of film festivals that happen. And all these filmmakers, they go show their movies and they get picked up by studios and get released that way through publishers and all this stuff. So indie movies do happen. You guys just don't watch them.
Yeah. And the exact same damn thing with video games.
New original games come out, you don't play them because you see Remake, you buy Remake because you liked original game.
Go to Newgrounds, go to itch.io, go to even Steam. It has a browser for anything. I mean, Steam is open for like asset flips and stuff, but just know what you're looking for. And you can find just thousands of games to play. If you wanted, you could play a new game every single damn day of the year because people release new games every single day.
Yeah, it's like you could play a new game every day for the rest of your life and not play the same game.
Yeah.
At this point.
But, oh no, I decided to buy Warcraft 3 Reforged because, hey, I like Warcraft 3.
You decided to take those 30 euros that game cost and you just shoved it up your bum, waited until the fucking notes were brown, pulled them back out and put them back in your wallet because now you're like, cool, I shit all over my money because that's what you did. Feel
Lovely
bad.
descriptor.
Feel bad if you do it.
Yeah. It really makes me cringe and cheeses me off whenever people say that. Of just any of the YouTube videos or podcasts or anything that I listen to, when people say, why does no one make new things anymore? Why is everything just a remake? It's not.
Because publishers right now, you think it's remake season. There's a lot of new games coming out, original games. But right now it's been dubbed the remake season by many large publishers because it is people they are preying on your nostalgia and your money for your nostalgia. How much are you willing to pay to get that experience again? It's like, literally again, $1 billion industry.
The Last of Us remake. The big controversy with it is that they're charging $70 for a game that came out in 2013.
Yeah.
But this, for one, I legit saw a post on Reddit that was like, it was titled like, wow, you people are idiots, and it shows the Last of Us remake $70, Last of Us on PS3 $5. And it's like, those aren't the same thing.
No.
Digital Foundry made a point of going back to play the original Last of Us on PS3, and they were like, oh shit, we forgot how badly this runs and looks. It was fine at the time because it's what we had, but when you go back and play it now, the load screens are like 5 minutes long. The game chugs at every single instance. It basically never hits 30 FPS. And it's pixelated to shit because the PS3 could never hit 1080p on anything.
Yeah.
We love the PS3, by the way.
Sony, again, sponsor.
You want to put your sponsor spot here?
We love your PlayStations 1 through 5. We don't know about 5 yet. We don't own it.
We don't own the 5 yet.
Fix the chipping issue, and then let's get moving, huh?
With the whole Last of Us thing, they remade this new one. It's not just a remaster because they had to literally remake it in order to put it on PC. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
They wanted to release Last of Us on PC, and they had to do so much work to try and port the PS4 version that they were just like, screw it, let's just redo it anyway.
Yeah.
And then, people are saying, why don't they just make a new thing instead of remaking The Last of Us? It's not the core Sony studio that's working on it. Like, core Naughty Dog didn't decide our next big project is let's redo The Last of Us.
That's also what happened with the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl thing. It's not Game Freak that made it.
Yeah.
It was made by Ilka. And Game Freak never outsourced that ever the shit again. Like I'm being for real here. I'm being Pharrell Williams here. Do not ever do that again. That was a bad idea.
Well, Game Freak can't really do stuff right anyway, so outsourcing didn't seem like that bad of an idea.
Yeah. Game Freak is an issue all on its own.
The other big notable bungled remake recently, besides The Last of Us, which isn't bungled, that there weren't any bugs, it runs fine. The only issue people have with it is its price, which I agree.
Yeah, it's
$70
steep.
Is pretty damn steep to pay for
regular
a remake.
price for a like AAA game like God of War and all that stuff. It's like $60 usually.
Well, not on the PS5.
No.
They launched it, so all of them are $70 now. That's the new game price. And they don't adjust for inflation or adjust for other countries' currencies. So when you're in another country that's not the US and say you have pounds where $70 is supposed to be £60, it's still being charged as £70. So it's $80 here.
You realize that's like that is like 750. Oh my god, that's a lot of money here. Oh. That is a ridiculous amount of money here.
And in Australia, it's even worse.
Yeah, Australia has always had the shit end of the stick when it comes to currency exchange.
Australia's had it for years, but especially in this instance, it's apparently like 100 or 110 or something ridiculous. And
that is stupid.
They get away with it because they can.
Not ragging on you, Sony. Just doing you.
You want to put your sponsor spot here?
Yeah. Not ragging.
The other remake that caused the big issue is the GTA one that came out. I forgot the name of the definitive edition.
GTA Definitive Edition with the GTA. What is it? 3 Vice
City and San Andreas.
Yeah.
Where they did, as you said, outsourcing. Which, if you outsource it to a really good studio like Bluepoint, who do fantastic remakes. We didn't even mention like the Shadow of the Colossus remake or the Demon Souls remake or just anything that Bluepoint touches turns to gold. They did the MGS HD remasters on the PS3, like some of the best remasters ever. Bluepoint, when they touch someone, turns to gold. With Grove Street Games for the GTA Definitive Edition trilogy thing, I don't want to dog on the studio because the devs are probably fine. It's probably the same thing in the whole video game industry is always, they didn't have enough time, they got crunched for too much stuff, the executives didn't give a shit. The same thing. But either way, didn't turn out great.
And that one, like, that's one of the ones that just like falls on preying on nostalgia for people loving like San Andreas or Vice City and whatever. It's like, it's
when it was initially announced, I got it. As in, not like I bought it, but as in I understood the point of like, oh, they're gonna redo the PS2 games. That's gonna be sick. I never imagined, it's gonna look like Red Dead 2. A lot of people were expecting that, and it's like, no, they're not gonna do that.
That's not a realistic expectation. Like, it's still gonna look like the games, just higher def. With the amount of time Rockstar puts into their game releases, if they were to do that, that thing would be out 30 years from now. Yeah, with GTA 6 in 2030 people already.
That's the date. It's going to be delayed until 2030. And then Red Dead 3 is going to come out in 2048.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, hey, I'm amazed with the Diablo 4 finally coming out next year. 2023. It was announced in 2019, by the way.
Well, it might be delayed again.
Diablo 1, 1990 something, 1994 or something like that. Diablo 2, 1996. There were two year gap there. The expansion, 1998 for Diablo 2. And then Diablo 3, 2012. 14 years, or like 15 years. And now Diablo 4 will come out 11 years after Diablo 3.
Well, see, that is legit a whole other podcast topic within itself about why games are games too expensive to make, are games too difficult to make, because that is a discussion for the ages.
that's an amount of time for developing a game.
Mm-hmm. And I completely forgot the point that I was even making now. With the remakes and stuff. But the remake culture,
not having enough time to do it properly, time crunch.
Oh, that it was about the devs of the trilogy. That when I first saw it, I knew it wasn't going to look like Red Dead 2. And when they announced it, I was like, this actually looks kind of neat. It kind of looks like those renders you'd see in the 90s of like Mario 64.
Yeah.
Those 3D renders where it looks really good, but it's still kind of simple.
Yeah.
So I kind of really think they look cool. I still do. Those remakes, in GTA 3's case mainly. San Andreas looks kind of weird. Because they got rid of the yellow desert look to it all, and it's just all like more realistic gray, and that kind of takes a whole vibe away from the game.
Yeah, like the yellowy thing, like that's a vibe in the game. Like that's an art style choice.
Mm-hmm. hint for something.
Hint.
With the preying on nostalgia thing, that's the one argument I only ever agree on when people complain about remasters and remakes. Is that, it's obvious when a company is releasing a remaster or a remake when it's clearly just being done for the sake of, hey, remember this thing?
Yeah, hey, money.
Remember giving us money? Can you do that again?
Hey, you remember you guys gave us so much money for this. Would you like to do that one more time?
Would you like to see me do it again?
Hey, would you like to see me do it again? That's me to the developers who just do it for that reason.
Yeah, I know, right? With
like to see me do it again?
With the Last of Us remake, especially with the comments I saw of people saying, why don't they just make a new Last of Us instead of remaking it? They did.
Yeah, they made Last of Us 2.
They made Last of Us 2 and everyone hated it.
But also, I don't know if people get like the difference between making an entirely new game and remaking an older game. And there's still work to be done, but less.
See, to me, that's one of the areas where I not disagree, but it's one of the things I've never really agreed on, in that it is less work in the fact that you don't have to
basically redesign. Don't have to design a new game, basically.
You don't have to make something entirely from scratch.
Yeah, but and that's where the time crunch usually is.
But in the case of like the Final Fantasy VII remake, they changed so damn much in that game.
Which is basically a new game.
Yeah, it's a new game. The only resemblance is it's in the same world and it has the same characters with the same names.
But you can say like companies that release remakes in between like main series releases. Because companies have, they have a tiny little group of people called shareholders.
We love shareholders here.
And shareholders who have stock invested in the company, they like to see some of that money return.
Mm-hmm.
And for that money to return, the company, in theory, has to put out product for you to buy. And if you buy it, they get money to give to shareholders and put on new products.
I was just about to say, because Call of Duty is always what I think of whenever I think of a shareholder. It's always Call of Duty.
What, you think of Bobby? Mr. Activision?
I think of Mr. Activision.
He is literally the scum of the earth, though.
Oh, yeah.
Activision getting bought by Microsoft? The deal has happened, by the way. It won't blow over until like 2 years from now, probably. But
yeah.
But it was like this year. It was like $74 billion.
Yeah. It's still not fully set in stone. It can still be revoked.
Yeah, it's not finalized at all. But if it does happen, it's not gonna happen for a long time. Because Mr. Activision Bobby is gonna get removed so fast.
I can only see that being a good thing.
Yeah.
Because, we don't like Microsoft, but Activision are way worse than Microsoft. So then being bought out by Microsoft, maybe their edges will be sanded down a little, so they'll be.
It's like choosing between bubonic plague and Ebola.
Not to that extent.
No, but
But bubonic plague or Ebola.
Well, in Danish we have a saying called pest or cholera.
Yeah.
That's like how, like, when people in Denmark talked about the Trump-Hillary election, it was like pest or cholera.
Yeah. That was a good descriptor of that.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing. But yeah, so Microsoft, I think, is going to do it better. But like Activision is known for predatory pricing.
Mm-hmm.
And in-game currency that doesn't line up with actual products in there. So you're just like, hey, you can buy this, this, and this. They cost $150 of the in-game currency each, but you can buy a bundle for $500, so you have $50 left over that you won't be able to use. That's called predatory pricing, people.
Yeah, they always said it the same thing, where the stuff you'll buy in the store, it never fits the pricing that you can buy.
No.
So you got to buy the more higher expensive thing.
Yeah, that is stupid.
Call of Duty. I remember the point I was making.
Call of Duty, before I sidestepped you, yes.
Call of Duty and shareholders. I was going to say, I'm surprised Call of Duty hasn't gone remake crazy. But they did.
I mean, yeah, now they did.
To some extent.
They remade Modern Warfare 1.
But that's what makes it weird, is that Modern Warfare, it shares the same name, but it doesn't really share the same anything else.
No.
Like, Captain Price is in it, but it's not like you play through the Chernobyl radiation sniper level.
Yeah.
Or the tanker mission in the beginning.
Chernobyl sniper level. Amazing.
Oh wait, they did remake. I don't know what you'd call that. The Modern Warfare thing that they released, that wasn't the reboot. I completely forgot that they did this. They
released a campaign?
Yeah, the remake? I don't know, because the gameplay, as far as I saw, was the same. It just visually looked better.
So, remaster? Question mark?
But they'd have to remake those assets
from
because they
PS3.
Yeah, because it was early PS3 as well.
It was really early, yes.
It wasn't just, hey, it's Modern Warfare, but now it's in 1080.
Because Modern Warfare was the fourth one, and like fucking Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 3 is old.
Mm-hmm.
So it was early days.
Yeah.
But now we're getting Modern Warfare 2 remake.
Yes, that remake / master.
Remaster.
Remaster make.
And I'm gonna be playing it because it's the only Call of Duty game I really ever enjoyed. So I'm gonna get it. I'm not gonna get like the massive bundle because fuck Activision, but I'll get the base game and just chill out.
Wait, you're gonna buy the thing? Why would you want to buy it? Why don't? Geez, Call of Duty guys, why don't you just make new Call of Duty games? Why are you going back and remaking this old one?
People say it. People do say that. Like, they haven't made a million Call of Duty games.
It's not like they made the recent Call of Duty Vanguard and no one liked it.
It's not like they made Call of Duty, like, Cold War, and no one really talks about that.
No one liked that one either.
No. They had Call of Duty Ghost, which I don't even know what people thought about that. I didn't have an opinion.
That was the opinion people had about it, is no one played it. It was the Morbius of Call of Duty
and then there was the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I played that a little bit. That's the one where you had the dude with the gravity spikes, and I would usually like you could like wall run and do some dumb shit in there. Like you could wall run like gravity spikes straight into the ground. Like you didn't have to like jump, and it was fun. That's when they had more operator-y style things.
That was Black Ops 3.
So all the way back in Black Ops 3?
Black Ops 3 was the guy with the spikes who slammed them down.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I played that one.
Advanced Warfare was even before that, where their big revolutionary thing was you can wall run.
Yeah, I played it. Wall running I remember from Advanced Warfare. Gravity Boy I remember from Black Ops 3.
Remember the Call of Duty character Gravity Boy?
Gravity Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh my god. Ugh. I won't say we've hit the dead end of this discussion, but
I have a couple of guiding questions here.
Yes.
Are video game remakes worthwhile?
Yes. The point that people going back to that point, I've never understood people making. Why would you spend time doing a remake or a remaster when you can make something new? People will always make something new. When someone's busy doing their remake or remaster, someone else will be doing something new.
Yeah.
And if it's complaining about the fact that it's taking franchise space, I get that.
But if you think of it like this, for every big remake, there's about 20 original games that have come out somewhere.
Yes.
Like
in the same gameplay style, probably.
Yeah. Like, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, are they worthwhile? Yeah, because they're not taking up the echelon of new games that are coming out. You're just not looking for them.
Mm-hmm.
And how much change is too much change in a game? We kind of covered that with the Final Fantasy VII. That is too much change. Resident Evil 2 Remake kind of rides the line on removing stuff and all that, but... The
Final Fantasy VII one is too much change, or it's fine, depending on the person.
Or if you think of it as like another game, basically.
Yeah, there's people who liked how much it changed, and there's people who didn't.
Yeah, so it's an opinion-based thing. Like, do you prefer and completely set Final Fantasy VII brackets 2?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you prefer it just to be kind of close to the original, but them add a little thing or remove a thing?
Do you prefer Resident Evil Remake 1's approach, where it's the same game but they add more, or Resident Evil Remake 2's approach, where it's a different game but it's the same setting?
Yeah.
Those are the two.
Let us know.
Yeah.
And has it gotten to a point where remake culture is just preying on nostalgia for a payout?
Well, executives and shareholders at Call of Duty Corp, they've always been looking on how to make money and preying on nostalgia.
Bobby Activision, he has dollar signs for eyeballs and he shits out $100 bills.
Mr. Activision, Mr. Gravity Boy Activision.
Yes.
They have always existed. They always will exist. Yeah. The point is if people will pay for it and if the product is good. Because if something is preying on your nostalgia, if the product is still good...
does it matter?
Fine.
Yeah.
Like,
even then, like, it's not that a remake culture made preying on people for a certain thing like nostalgia. It's not just remake culture. It's happened all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remake culture has been a thing.
It's been a thing forever. But, like, when people only started mentioning remake culture as a term now...
That's the thing, though. It's been... Even then, remake culture has been happening for, like, the past 10 years.
Yeah,
it's come up again because of the Last of Us remake.
Yeah, it started like remakes really started like in 2010 probably.
Yeah, with the whole PS3 HD remaster era.
Yeah,
the Metal Gear Solid HD, Ratchet and Clank HD, Jack and Daxter HD. People were saying, "Why aren't they making new ones?"
Because we want you to play them on our latest console.
Yeah. The thing that always gets me to completely deflate whenever anyone talks about it being a remake culture and it's only happened recently, movies. Look back into the history of movies and it's full of remakes.
Yeah. It's rifled.
Some of the earliest movies were then remade 5 years later because technology had advanced.
Yeah, think of it like this. Like, okay, my fiance the other day watched The Parent Trap. This is with Lindsay Lohan. That
Classic.
movie is a remake of the original Parent Trap, which is an even older movie. And The Parent Trap has been remade like 4 times.
Yep.
3 times, yeah. Same with the movie Freaky Friday. Again, Lindsay
Yes.
Lohan. That was also a remake of a Freaky Friday movie, and the Freaky Friday movie has been made again.
Did you have a Lindsay Lohan theme going on?
Those were just the first two that popped into my head. And my dad told me about a Roadhouse remake, like the Patrick Swayze movie, with Conor McGregor in the role of Patrick Swayze.
Okay.
Just don't do it. Don't do it. It's gonna flop. It's gonna flop really hard. Don't put fighters in movies. They're not actors.
The one that I specifically remember from, this is a bit more esoteric and ancient, is Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yep.
So, originally the book comes out, then in the early 1920s or 30s, when movies start to become a thing, they make a movie adaptation, and it's a silent movie.
Yeah, because silent movies were really like, or sound movies, or sound didn't come out until like early 20s.
They had movies even in the 1890s and stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's silent film, obviously.
Yeah.
Then Charlie Chaplin was like 1910.
Yeah. Then once movies started to advance and they had sound finally, in around about the 50s, they were like, okay, let's remake that exact same movie again. But hey, we have sound now.
Yeah. Also, like the movie Nosferatu.
Yes, exactly.
I actually, because I took film studies. Yeah, guys. And Nosferatu, I watched the original Nosferatu movie in silent, black and white, just, and now that's been remade like 10 times at this point.
And there's even a whole history thing about where the American workers would be shooting a movie in the daytime, then once all the American crew left, then the Italians would come in and use the exact same set and film their version.
Yeah.
So they were doing a remake on the set of the original thing.
And when I just thought about the first proper color movie in Wizard of Oz. That has been remade. Umpteenth times.
Well, because Wizard of Oz is public domain. Well,
yeah.
the book is, not the movie.
The book is public domain. You have to buy rights to make the movie.
Yeah, you've the original Wizard of Oz. You've the Wiz. You have the Return to Oz with
Return to Oz. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when she was more grown up and it's all creepy, and you had the James Franco one. I know these aren't really remakes, but they're kind of
remake, telling the same story from a different thing.
To finish a belabored point, remakes have been a thing in history since forever. Basically, since art existed, people will go back and remake the same thing because of improvements. Whether it be paint gets better, or now we can do sound in movies, to, hey, now we can put ray tracing in our game.
It's the same as a music artist that put out a remastered version of a CD they put out in the 80s.
Yeah.
Metallica did that. Iron Maiden did that. These are all just off the top of my head rock bands I listen to. Metal bands. Don't come after me. Yes, but they made remastered versions of all their old CDs. Same stuff. It's been put. They've gone into the studio, remixed, remastered all the things, and done.
Mm-hmm. So remasters have existed for years.
If as long as art has existed, remasters have existed, remakes have existed.
Yes, but to go alongside that, new stuff will also still exist.
Basically, like I said, one remake, remaster, 20 original things. Kind of.
No matter what restrictions get put in, even if video games would be banned by the government, you go to jail for making a game, people will still make them. Because people can't be stopped when they want to make art that they care about. Yeah,
because
so it'll keep being made.
Other implicit point that video games are art.
Yes. I think that kind of answers it all.
And on a different note here, for next week's episode is special 10th episode.
Yes. Should we spoil what the special is, or?
We can give them the title, I guess.
What was the title of it? I can't remember the title. I remember the premise.
We're guessing soundtracks.
Yes. We're taking different soundtracks that we've picked out and see if the other person can guess it. And
see how it goes.
We'll see. We'll have to see how it goes. It could be fun. And hope you enjoyed watching this episode. Well, what do you think about the differences between remakes and remasters? Do you think we actually are in a remake era and we're just looking into pesky history too much?
Yeah. What is your favorite remake? What is your least favorite remake? What is a bad one that we didn't mention?
Yes, what's a bad one we didn't mention? What's one that changes too much stuff?
Yeah.
Please let us know, and thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.